government lifts Shipari Akoko rainstorm victims with relief materials. Benue State Governor Autumn seeks return of internally displaced persons before 2023 census. Nigeria police dismisses 3 officers for gross misconduct. And from the foreign scene, Ghana becomes first country to approve use of new malaria vaccine R21. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Akinwumi Abotunde. Ondo State Government has handed over relief materials for rainstorm victims at Shupari Akoko in Akoko Southwest local government area of the state to the regent of the community for onward distribution to those at the receiving end of the devastation. Acting Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, while presenting the support package, said the relief materials are meant to cushion the effect of the rainstorm on the victims. Government House correspondent Timileyin Falade now reports. Okay, we'll bring you that report in the course of the bulletin. Healthcare providers in Ondo State have been charged to key into the vision of the health insurance scheme introduced by the present administration towards achieving universal health coverage. Commissioner for Health, Dr. Banji Ajaka, gave the admonition at a strategic meeting of stakeholders in the health sector in Akure, the state capital. Joy Pius reports that different categories of healthcare providers, professionals and administrators attended the gathering put in place by the Ondo State Contributory Health Commission. We'd like to sincerely apologize that we're having challenges with our reports tonight, but we hope to get the issues sorted as we go on. Moving to politics, the Osun State Election Petitions Tribunal, which will hear matters emanating from the March 18 House of Assembly elections in the state, has received 24 petitions. The People's Democratic Party won 25 out of the 26 seats in the Assembly, while the All Progressives Congress won a seat. The only seat won by the APC is that of Borikwe Boluwaduro State Constituency. Of the 24 petitions, the APC filed one came from the PDP, while the Action Alliance turned in 22 petitions. The Tribunal Secretary, Mahmoud Magaji, who said no definite date had been fixed for commencement of sitting on the petitions, added that the parties are still exchanging processes. Staying with politics, they has assured residents of Sokoto State that Saturday's National Assembly supplementary election will be free, fair, and credible. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting held at the Commission's Secretariat, the INEC National Commissioner for the election, Modibo Alkali, said this weekend's exercise in Sokoto will be one of the best polls in the country in recent times. Alkali insisted that all political parties, including their agents, must adhere to the rules of the game, stressing that the Commission is poised to support the advancement of globally acceptable democratic processes. Alkali urged all participating political parties to educate their members and supporters to be law-abiding throughout the exercise. A group known as the Natives has called on lawmakers vying for Senate presidency and speakership of the House of Representatives in the 10th National Assembly to allow the ruling party decide the zoning structure for various offices. The call is coming in the wake of random lobbying of lawmakers to rally support ahead of their inauguration. The National Vice Chairman of the APC Northwest, Malam Salihu Lukman, had earlier called on northern senators contesting the post to step down for fairness and equity's sake. Party chieftains in the South and Southeast geopolitical zones are equally requesting the zoning of the Senate presidency to their regions in order to have a sense of belonging at the federal level. Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has urged the federal government to suspend the conduct of the National Population Census until all internally displaced persons return to their ancestral homes. Ortom made the call while receiving a delegation from the Middle Belt Forum led by its president, Dr. Beatrice Bogo, at the government house in Makurdi. Ortom said a large number of people in the state were still in the IDP camps and may not be counted because they need to be in their localities before they can participate in the exercise. The outgoing governor also made a case for the provision of adequate security for the IDPs in Benue State and elsewhere in the country, saying the federal government should make the return of displaced citizens back to their ancestral homes a priority. Troops of Operation Forest Sanity have intercepted more than 2,000 rounds of various grades of ammunition being conveyed to bandits by a courier along pole wire in the dreaded Birnin Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. The Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, said the weapons were concealed in different parts of a black Toyota Corolla car. He added that the driver of the vehicle conveying the large quantity of ammunition meant for terrorists across the Birnin Gwari general area was arrested by the troops. Arwan listed the ammunition recovered by the troops to include 1,079 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, 886 rounds of 7.6mm belted ammunition, 139 rounds of 7.62mm tracer ammunition, as well as 5 empty AK-47 magazines. Still staying with crime stories, the Nigerian Police Force has dismissed 3 officers from the Special Protection Unit of the Base 1 Kano for discreditable conduct and recklessness, as well as action capable of endangering public safety. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Olumiwa Adejobi, explained that a widely circulated video on social media, as well as investigation conducted by constituted authorities, proved beyond reasonable doubt that the men were found wanting in the discharge of their duties. He added that the follow-up orderly room trial of the affected policemen by Provost Marshal therefore dismissed the trial for misuse of firearms, abuse of power, gross indiscipline and wastage of live ammunition, as well as high-handedness. The 3 officers, Inspector Dahiru Shuaibu, Sergeant Abdullahi Badamasi, and Sergeant Isa Danladi, were attached to a musician on escort duties at Kahutu village in Katsina State and fired shots into the air indiscriminately in the course of the assignment against laid-down rules and regulations. Not leaving police issues, the Inspector General of Police Usman Baba and the Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Dr. Solomon Arase, have met with retired Inspectors General of Police at the Police Service Commission Corporate Headquarters in Abuja. The meeting, which was at the instance of Dr. Arase, discussed effective partnership amongst other salient issues affecting the force, drawing experiences from the retired officers who had at various times piloted the affairs of the Nigeria Police Force and the Police Service Commission. Retired Inspectors General of Police Sunday Hidero and Ogbonna Onovo attended the round table, just as a former Police Service Commission Chairman Mike Okiro and the incumbent Chairman of the Police Trust Fund Suleiman Abba were equally present. The Police Service Commission Chairman Dr. Solomon Arase appreciated the stakeholders for honoring his invitation while assuring that the Commission will not relent in ongoing efforts to improve the welfare of police officers. We now return to the story on the stakeholders meeting in the health sector. We told you earlier that healthcare providers in Ondo State have been charged to key into the vision of the health insurance scheme introduced by the present administration towards achieving universal health coverage. Commissioner for Health, Dr. Banji Ajaka, gave the admonition at a strategic meeting of stakeholders in the health sector in Akure, the state capital. Joy Pius reports that different categories of healthcare providers, professionals and administrators attended the gathering put in place by the Ondo State Contributory Health Commission.
The need to further strengthen the capacity of healthcare delivery system in the state, as well as harnessing efforts to galvanize efficient and responsive processes to enhancing the Orange Health Insurance Scheme, Oranges, prompted the Ondo State Contributory Health Commission to call this stakeholders meeting. Addressing the gathering in Akure, the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Banji Ajaka, who doubled as the chairman on the occasion, thanked key players for embracing the vision of the present administration aimed at providing quality healthcare at the doorstep of all residents.
Oranges was flagged up 4 months ago. Now, we're already here with success story. This is wonderful. I think once again is the beginning of a good thing to come. I'm sure that in no distant time we would have story to tell, positive story to tell in the health sector.
The Director General, Ondo State Contributory Health Commission, Dr. Abiodun Oyenei, noted that the strategic meeting was another opportunity to interface with who is who in the health sector with a view to analyzing progresses made so far on the Orange Health Insurance Scheme, discussing challenges encountered along the line, as well as coming up with solutions to boost performance.
As of 2019, the health insurance coverage in the state was just about 1.8%, around 60,000 people, despite the implementation of the National Health Insurance Scheme for 14 years. Today, with the commencement of the Ondo State Contributory Health Commission and in collaboration with the National Health Insurance Authority, health insurance coverage has grown to 4.2% in just 3 years. And our target is that in the next 1 year, because we should be able to hit the target of 1 million enrollee beings.
The third-party administrators, whose job was to ensure proper coordination of the scheme, presented their scorecards since the commencement of the Oranges scheme. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Folukemi Aladinola, advised health workers to be committed to their duties, just as the Executive Secretary, Ondo State Drug and Health Management Commodity, Dr. Amos Ayegbusi, assured of the availability of quality drugs at all times. Feelers from the event suggested that the Sunshine Health Insurance Scheme, designed to cater for the informal as well as organized private sector, covering about 90% of the total population of a state, is set to commence full operation. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
Let's now serve you the story on help that has come for victims of rainstorm in Shukpare Akoko. Earlier in the bulletin, we told you that the Ondo State government has handed over relief materials for the rainstorm victims in Shukpare Akoko, that is in Akoko Southwest local government area of the state, to the regent of the community for onward distribution to those at the receiving end of the devastation. Acting Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, while presenting the support package, said the relief materials are meant to cushion the effect of the rainstorm on the victims. Government House correspondent Timilei Falade has details.
Following a downpour which wreaked havoc last month in Shukpare Akoko, Akoko Southwest local government area, the Ondo State government promised support for victims in the community. In fulfillment of the promise, Acting Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has handed over relief materials to those on the receiving end of the disaster. While presenting the materials, Ayedatiwa, represented by the Secretary of Ondo State Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Femi Obideyi, reiterated government's commitment to the welfare of residents of the state by ensuring they have in abundance the dividends of good governance.
When this unfortunate incident happened a few weeks ago, in the month of March this year, we came for assessment and we went around the town we saw the impact and effect of the rainstorm. So we submitted a report to the chairman of the State Emergency Management Agency, who is the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Honorable Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa, so that they can use this to ameliorate the effects and the impact of the rainstorm.
Responding, the regent of the community, Adebukola Adedayo, lauded the Ondo State government for bringing succor to those affected in the community.
The community has been faced with storm, and we call upon them, they responded. We want to thank them. May the Almighty God be their sufficient. Amen. God will enlarge them. Amen. And the member of the Shupari community, we are saying a big thank you.
Some of the relief materials distributed include roofing sheet, bags of cement, nails, among others. It is expected that items will serve as support to residents affected by the rainstorm. Simile Faladi, Osrc News.
News at 7 on OSRC television. You can also watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV and OSRC Ondo. You can also reach us, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, that is OSRC TV Ondo. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on the news at 7. The last 10 days of Ramadan is a period in the annual fasting season that comes with intensity of worship and the quest to seek the face of Allah. During this time, spiritual seclusion is encouraged for believers, more so that the reward of a single night therein is equivalent to that of 83 years. OSRC's Zahida Ribisala takes a look at the significance of the last lap of the holy month and how the faithful are striving to receive favor as the quiet search for the night of majesty is activated. The report.
Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, is a time for every mature, healthy and sane Muslim to abstain from eating and drinking as well as other forms of nourishment or entertainment from dawn to sunset. There are specific acts prescribed in the Holy Quran and practiced by Prophet Muhammad which Muslims are encouraged to carry out during Ramadan in order to maximize their reward. Supererogatory prayers, constant recitation of the Holy Book, attending religious gatherings and different forms of charity are things some Muslims embark on. For those who are buoyant enough, a trip to the Holy Land of Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia is done to further gain the favors of Allah. However, anyone who could not afford the journey is equally assured of a huge share in the if he can sacrifice his time and comfort of his bed to spend the last 10 days in devotion at a nearby central mosque. The spiritual seclusion is known as itikaf. Missionary Abdurrahman Adewale of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat sheds more light on the significance of the period.
If we look at Ramadan, it's divided into three. The Rasul said the first part of Ramadan is mercy, the second part is forgiveness, and the third part of Ramadan is all encompassing. So therefore the Rasul said, and within these last 10 days, in the odd days, there is a particular day within the odd days between 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th or 29th. There is one particular day which is called Laylatul Qadr, as mentioned in the Holy Quran. The Quran said that night, khayru min alfi shahr, is better than 1,000 nights. So this, and Rasul said it is incumbent upon the Muslims that they must search for the night in the last 10 days of Ramadan. So because of this, there is also an injunction Rasul as mentioned in the Holy Quran, itikaf, that is seclusion in the mosque for 10 days.
For a single night which is said to be a transformational one, no fewer than 200 persons have gathered at this mosque we are standing just to get the night of majesty. And this they hope to do fervently in the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan.
The set for the Night of Divine Decree or Night of Majesty is one that every serious-minded Muslim does not joke with, prompting many to fix their annual leave for the period, while some even relocate to another town with a view to having total concentration. Ustaz Kamaruddin Abdulaziz noted that the seclusion is also a golden opportunity for worshippers to increase their knowledge of the faith, among other rewarding engagements.
In Ramadan, Prophet also itemized some things that needed to be given out to those Muslims that are incapable of taking care of themselves. And that is what they call Zakatul Fitri. So the purpose is, Prophet said, for you to make the Muslims that are less privileged to get something to take on the day of Eid, to have something to cook for themselves, cook for their family. So that is the purpose. Ugunuhum anil mas'ala. Give them enough thing that will not make them to beg on the day of Salah. So that is the purpose of Zakatul Fitri. And that's why Prophet Muhammad encouraged that Zakatul Fitri should be given out 2 or 1 day closer to the Eid al-Fitr.
The need to jettison the idea of singling out a specific night as the Night of Majesty was also emphasized, with scholars insisting only Allah knows best.
There is one night out of the last 10 days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described in the Holy Quran that the prayer, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts the prayer, that a single night is favored and blessing more than 1,000 months. And that is why you will see Muslim at the last 10 days of Ramadan stay in the mosque praying to meet that night. That is why you see Muslim in the last 10 days of Ramadan settle in the mosque and be praying. They are just searching for that a single night in the last 10 days of Ramadan.
While some faithful may not have the opportunity to seclude themselves from worldly affairs in the last 10 days, Islamic scholars said striving to obtain the abundant benefits of the month of mercy should be the priority of everyone. Sahid Aribisala, OSRC News.
The Buhari Media Organization says the latest disbursement of 320 billion naira intervention fund for public tertiary institutions is the highest since the Tertiary Education Trust Fund was created. The organization's chairman, Niya Kinshiju, and secretary Kasidi Madweke said the latest move was aimed at addressing perennial problem of poor funding of public tertiary institutions. Tech Fund had earlier acknowledged that the 2023 allocation of 320 billion naira to tertiary institutions was the highest since the fund was created 30 years ago. For the current fiscal year, each federal university is to get 1.154 billion naira. The polytechnics are to receive 699.3 million naira each, while the sum of 800 million naira goes to each of the benefiting colleges of education. Borno State has joined the League of States in the Federation who have approved the new recruitment age for teachers, as Governor Babagana Zulum has endorsed the 5-year extension. A circular from the Borno State Teaching Service Board said Zulum has approved the extension of years of service of all teachers from 35 to 40 and from 60 to 65 by age, whichever comes first of the two options. All interested teachers willing to enjoy the privilege are expected to write to the board through their head teachers or principals. Such expression of interest correspondence is to be attached to a medical certificate of fitness from an approved government hospital. The federal government has approved 6.28 billion naira for surface maintenance of the third mainland bridge in Lagos State. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who briefed newsmen after the Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, said the 24-month repair project will cover 11 kilometers, including interchanges, ramps, and critical links. He explained that the move aligns with Executive Order 11 signed by President Muhammadu Buhari last year, which gave legal backing to the country's national maintenance policy. The announcement comes barely 2 weeks after the Lagos state government said it would undertake rehabilitation works on the 32-year-old bridge to repair failed and peeled asphaltic sections and substructure. The former Lagos state governor, while clarifying that there would be no duplication of function in the intervention, said the state's Public Works Corporation will focus on the functional structure of the bridge, such as the underwater piles, while the federal government will undertake surface maintenance to treat potholes and restore missing guardrails. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency has revealed what led to the collapse of a 7-story building at Banana Island, Ikoyi. A statement on Lasema's Facebook page said the building that was still under construction collapsed after a truck ran into it. While expressing gratitude to God that no life was lost in the incident, the agency said efforts are ongoing to take the building to ground zero so as to forestall any secondary collapse. Moving to the foreign scene, Ghana has become the first country to approve a new malaria vaccine that has been described as a world changer by the scientists who developed it. The vaccine, called R21, appears to be hugely effective in stark contrast to previous ventures in the same field. Ghana's drug regulators have assessed the final trial data on the vaccine's safety effectiveness, which is not yet public, and have decided to endorse it for public consumption, even as the World Health Organization is also considering approving the vaccine. Malaria kills about 620,000 people each year across the globe, with most of the victims being children. Tanzania has deported one of South Africa's most wanted fugitives, the convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester, who faked his death in prison and fled to the East African state. Bester was flown to South Africa in a specially chartered plane following his arrest last week. His girlfriend and celebrity doctor, Dandifa Magudumana, who was arrested with him, has also been deported. Her father has also been charged with helping Bester escape from prison after faking death by setting himself on fire in his prison cell in the South African city of Bloemfontein. President Joe Biden is continuing his official visit to the Republic of Ireland as he meets Irish President Michael Higgins at his official residence before holding further talks with the Prime Minister Leo Varadkar. He is also the 4th U.S. president to address a joint sitting of Ireland's Parliament. Thousands of people gathered to welcome him on Wednesday as he visited distant relatives in Carlingford in the northeast of the country. He had earlier held talks with the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and held a meeting with the leaders of the Northern Ireland's 5 main parties in Belfast. One of Russia's most active volcanoes has erupted in the far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula, shooting a vast cloud of ash far into the sky that smothered villages and triggered an aviation warning. The volcano erupted just after midnight and reached a crescendo about 6 hours later, spewing out an ash cloud over an area of 41,700 square miles. Akintunde Akinshomola has details. We'd like to sincerely apologize that we will not be able to take that full report. To end the news at 7, another look at the major stories. Ondo State government has lifted the hearts of people of Shukbari Akoko who were devastated by rainstorm with relief materials. Benue State Governor Samuel Otom has sought the return of internally displaced persons before the 2023 census. The Nigerian police has dismissed 3 officers for gross misconduct. We also told you that Ghana has become the first country to approve the use of the new malaria vaccine R21. That's it on the news at 7. Thank you for being a part of it. Good evening.
listen to this public service announcement. This is to inform the general public, particularly all qualified candidates